So we are live.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the day two of the bootcamp of Let's Upgrade. Um, I hope you guys can hear me and see me as well. And hope you guys are doing great. And I hope the day one bootcamp of the Figma basics has been really helpful and insightful. Or in case if you got any particular queries, please let me know in the chat. We'll be going through that in detail as well. Okay. And let please confirm if you guys can see me. Okay, that's great. So today we're going to be going through the day two. Since the day one, we have started to understand what's the shapes, the Boolean functions, and we also discussed about how to import images and how to crop them like this. And we also gone through how a basic login screen is can be created here in Figma, and what kind of drop shadows, the types of color variants which we have gone through to understand. Okay, now we're going to be going through how a real app can be is created and how and what is the purpose of each particular prototypes. We're going to be going through how to create a prototype of a mobile app and as well as website to see how it functions, how it can be created, and to understand the basic to understand the core functionality of Figma. Okay. Okay. So now let's dive into the Figma prototyping. Since we have understood what is the shapes and the basic functionalities of how to create a frame from the mobile and website. Okay. Yes. We can get the video of this. Just stay tuned. Okay. Yes. Now going through, I have created a sample app here already because creating the app from the scratch is a tedious process. Okay. So I hope everybody can see my screen. Okay. Great. 1 second. Yes. As you can see me in my screen, this is the prototype of a sample mobile app. Now we're gonna be creating from the scratch of how to do a prototype. Okay. I've removed all the connections. Okay. So suppose that this is the app already created here. Okay. This is the application which is already created. But what is the functionality of Figma other than design? So now we're gonna be going through how it is created and how a prototyping is can be done here. That we're going to discuss in the today's session. Okay. Understanding about the core functionalities of the Figma. Okay. Now, as you can see here, this is the first screen. Okay. This is the splash screen here. This is a logo which has been added here. Okay. Can be directly added something like this. Okay. Now, if you see this particular screen here, this is the onboarding screens here. Okay. Which is added here. Just like normal T here. Okay. Just like if you go to design, you can type something like this. So it is just normally how we have shown here that is added here. Okay, something like this. Okay, I think there is some issue with the Zoom. Okay, skip. Okay, so once it is added, you can group it here. Okay, now we need to add prototyping from screen to screen here. We'll be sharing this particular Figma file once this is done. Okay, please focus on this. Once we have completed this particular file, it will be shared to you to download it in the resources. Okay, now let's continue. So as you can see here, from the particular one screen here, first we need to understand what is the particular screen size here, 375 to 812. Okay, so here, whenever you select one, you see prototyping here. Once you select the prototype, you see this options called prototyping options. Okay, so whenever you select the first screen, once we have done significant progress, I'll be asking you guys if anything is unclear. Okay, so once you select the splash screen here, when you go to the prototype option here, you will be able to understand flow starting point. Okay, flow starting point is the starting point. Whenever you click on this, it will create the first particular frame in your prototyping. Okay, prototyping is where you can see the final design output of your particular frame. Okay, now I have added the splash screen here. Okay, and flow starting point. I want to name it as first screen. Okay, so this is what I have added here. Okay, one moment. Okay, so once you have added one particular frame here, when you go to the prototyping, you see a plus option here. Whenever you on hover onto this particular points in the prototype mode, let me show it once again. Whenever you select the particular screen and you go to the prototype mode, you see this particular option called flow starting point. You select the flow starting point, you name it as for screen. Okay. And once that is done, you will be seeing this option called splash screen. Okay. Now while in the prototyping mode, okay, you will see this particular option called plus button. So by clicking on the first plus button, you will see this arrow mark by clicking on the left particular button. Okay, left mouse key. By clicking on your left mouse key, just move it to the next particular frame here. Okay, so that meaning is you want to move from one particular frame to another frame. Okay, that is what this particular issue is. So as soon as you connect, there would be this particular pop-up stating that what is the interaction. It says by default on click, navigate to onboarding screen 1. Okay. So that meaning is whenever you move from splash screen to onboarding screen 1, it says that I want to move from splash screen to onboarding screen 1. So the interaction says on click, navigate to onboarding screen. Okay. On clicking on it, it will move on to the onboarding screen here. Let me just show you with the example. Okay, once you play this, you'll see this on click, navigate to the second screen. Okay, let me just explain this once again. Whenever you select the first screen, okay, and you take this particular icon here, okay, the plus button to here by clicking on the left mouse click, okay, and it automatically shows on click, navigate from this splash screen to onboarding screen. Whatever the naming you see onboarding screen, it is shown here. You can click on that and change to whichever the screen you want. Okay. And it will be shown here. Okay, that is what you add the first navigation. Okay, once you play this, it will show up here. Once you clicking on that, it will show on click navigated to the second. Okay, now let me add the background. Okay, so when you go to the design mode, you see 375 to 812 has been added here. Okay, go to the prototyping, show prototype settings. There is an option called by default, it is selected no device. I want to add the device of 375 pixel resolution. Okay, which is iPhone 13 mini. I added the iPhone 13 mini in my prototyping settings, which suits this particular resolution. Okay, 375. Once you play this, the play can be applied only when you are in the prototype. Okay, once you play that, you see that the mockup is applied here. This is the mockup area. Okay, once you click on that, it is move on to the second particular screen. Okay, now let me repeat that for you guys once again. Okay, so in order to navigate from one particular screen to another particular screen, you need to define your first screen. Okay, how do you define that? You need to select the first screen, whichever you want, and click on the flow starting point. Flow starting point defines your first screen. This is the first screen. I changed it to a first screen. Okay. Once you do that, you want to navigate from splash screen to this particular screen. By clicking on to the prototype mode, you click on to this here. Okay. So by clicking on the left mouse key to this particular screen, it says on tap navigate to onboarding screen. Okay. Now, once you add the navigation, you can click on here play option. This is called soft prototype mode. Okay, or you can say quick prototype. Okay. Once that is added here, you can see here why by clicking here, the navigation says on tap of this particular screen, it's navigating to onboarding screen. This is the onboarding screen. You can see the name onboarding screen. Okay, this is it. So on click, it is navigated to our second screen. Okay, now let's see. Whenever you open any particular app on your mobile phone, splash screen is not there to tap there. It is there to move on from splash screen to the next particular screen. So in that instance, you select this navigation. You select after delay. After delay of by default, it will show about it will show the time in millisecond. So by default, it is 800 millisecond, but to navigate to onboarding screen. Okay. The meaning here is whenever you give this option from splash screen to onboarding screen, after about zero 0.8 seconds, it moves from splash screen to onboarding screen. Let me just play this. So after 0 0.8 second, it has moved to the second particular screen, which I have given here. Okay. So for example, when I start again, if I start again, after 0 0.8 second, it has moved to this particular screen. Okay. So this is how you navigate from one screen to another screen. Now let's add the same functionality to the next particular screens here. Okay. So now this is create an account and this is an onboarding screens here. Generally, whenever you open any application, you slide from one particular screen to another. How do we add slide here? Okay. So now let's add slide option. Okay. So from onboarding screen 1 to onboarding screen 2, whenever you click on this plus option in the prototype mode, okay, click on this plus option to move it to the second screen. Okay. Now, instead of on tap, we are not tapping it, we are dragging it. So you need to click on drag and you need to click on the direction in which you want to drag. This is the direction level. Okay. Suppose I want to drag it to the left. It will show up here. Okay. Once you add the direction, and on drag functionality, it is dragging to this particular second screen. Okay, because here we are using drag option, not tap option. We are not tapping on anything. We need to slide to move to this particular screen. That is the reason. Okay, once I play this, after 0.8 second, it moved to here because that is what the delay I apply. Okay, now here, when I drag it from the left, it will show up like this. Because I'm dragging it from the right, which that is what I added here. On drag it from the left. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, till here, anybody questions? I just want to stop here to let's see if there are any questions. This is the naming which I have given for my understanding. You can double click here to change any name if you want. Okay, you can double click here to change any name if you want. Okay, that is for our understanding, like what particular screen you want to change it. Okay, for the people who are raising hand, you can try unmuting and ask your question as well. Okay, you won't get the pages. You need to create it by clicking here. I didn't choose it. That is what I created this particular screen. That is the reason I choose iPhone. There is no specific thing. You can choose any particular frame to create these files. Okay. Okay. So here I've shown you the drag functionality. Now let me show you. It depends upon how many times you want to add the single functionality. Pratik. Okay. Yes, good question. One person has asked why button is also dragging with image. Good question. Let me fix that as well. That was the thing I was going to explain to you guys. Okay. Now let's see. See here, whenever we are dragging something, you only one person has observed that. We are dragging it, why the button is moving. Very good question. Now let's just fix that, why it's happening there. Okay. So whenever we are dragging it, there is the option here on the drag says we are dragging the entire frame. So I want to not drag the entire frame. Okay. So I want to just slide only the onboarding screens which are there. Now let's do that. Okay. So how do we do that? In order to start designing, click on the design. Okay. And click on this onboarding screens. First ungroup it. Okay. Ungroup it. Ungroup it. Okay. Once you have ungrouped it, select the particular type here, whatever the onboarding screens are. Select it, select all the three, select all the three, okay, and move it outside the frame. Okay. Once you move it outside the frame, just make sure these three are in the same particular line. Okay. I think there is a mistake here. Let's select this one. Move it outside the frame. Okay. Now, by selecting like this is how you select multiple objects. See, I think there are more than 300 people in this call. So I request people to have some patience because I'm going through each particular option here to make you guys understand. So after I've done that, I'll explain your doubts. So please listen to what I'm doing so that I can address everybody and I can also conclude today's agenda. Just wanted to clear that. Okay. Thank you so much. Now, since one of the person has asked how are we gonna fix this issue because this is very critical. So how are we gonna do that? So we're gonna remove all the onboarding screens here. Okay, and then you select this one. You can see here by selecting here, you will see different layout options. The height and width are different for each thing. So you need to fix that by taking a fixed particular width here. Okay. Suppose I selected about, let's just say 400 into 500. Okay. So I moved this particular screen. Let me change this to, okay. So I moved this particular thing onto this particular shape and I moved it to front. Bring to front, right click and bring into the front. Now, if you observe, this is at the center, okay, which is of 400 to 500, 400 width and 500 height, okay. And then I'll take the same, I'll take the same particular shape here, Control C, Control V, and I move it to the center, okay. Right click, move it to the front, and click B, make it at the center itself. Now, Control C, Control V again, okay, and move it to the center, okay. Once you move it to the center, click it, right click, bring it to the front. I'm not using any kind of shortcuts so that everybody can understand. Okay. Now that I have kept in this particular specific resolution, because the reason why I'm taking is so that all the sizes are equal. 400 to 500, 400 to 500, 400 to 500. Okay. The reason why I'm taking same sizes, you will understand in a moment by yourself. Okay. Now that we have taken this, okay. So click on each particular thing and zoom it. Sorry, group it. Right click, select the both things, right click and click on group selection. Okay. Control G or Command G. Do it for the same again. Control G, Command. Do it for the same again. Okay. Once you have done that, you will see that entire onboarding screen objects are in 400 to 500. Okay. Now, in our onboarding screen, there is already a background. So we don't need any background here. So how do we remove that? We select each particular onboarding screen and you see an option called fill. Okay. And you double select this one. You see this of this particular fill is of this particular color. So I'm gonna hide it. I hided it. Now, if you select this particular object, it shows up 400 into 500. Okay. So now do the same thing for this also. Okay. Now double click here, hide it. Double click here, hide it. Okay. Once that is done, okay, select these particular three things. Okay. Select these things, right click on that, and you'll see an option called create component. Okay. Also, select this particular three screens. You can see this option called here, a small drop down called create component, create multiple components, create component set. Okay. Now, after selecting these three, I have selected create components. Okay. By default, whenever you have selected it, it shows component 20 by default. Okay. So I have created a component set here. Now that once you have created the component set here, okay, you see this option called prototyping here. Okay. So you select the first one, you go to the prototyping and give the same amount of prototyping, whatever you want. Okay. On drag, change the direction to left one and change to this one. I'm doing the same thing once again, doing this by dragging from the right to left. On drag, right to left. Okay. I'll repeat the same thing again by clicking on this to this one. Okay. On here, I click on drag, change from right to left. Okay. Now that I have added the combination of this particular drag option here. Okay. Now, after creating component, can we change anything for it? Yes, you can. Okay. So once you have added this options here of dragging, okay, and the next thing you need to do is the component 20 name. Okay, you can change it whatever you want. You can change to onboarding screens. Okay. Once you do that, you see that option called assets because I created an asset of 3 screens with the onboarding. Okay. In order to do that, go to assets panel. And what is the name here, which I have given? Onboarding screens. Just type onboarding screens. Okay. You see, this is the onboarding screens component which I added. It says 3 because there are 3 components. Okay. It says 3 whenever I on hover here because there are 3 components. Simple. So just drag this. Once you drag this, it will show up something like this. Go to the design mode and place it into the first onboarding screen like this, just like that. Okay. Once you have added here, okay. Now let's play this. Go to the prototype mode, and if you play it by clicking on onboarding screen, so one point after delay, we got to the second screen. Now that if you drag it, you can see something like this. Okay, let me just fix something quickly here. So there is this button overlapping here. Let's just fix that. Okay. Now, since we have removed the background color, let's add the background color once again and see how it looks like for your confirmation. Okay. Now, let's play this. Let's see how it looks. See, second and third. See? Now understood, guys? So once you add the after delay, once you created the component here, yes, it will work. You just need to drag the component and add it here. Now, did you observe that we don't need these 2 screens here? We don't need it at all. Okay. If you could move it from the assets panel, this is how you will be doing that. Okay. Done. Now let's move on. Okay. You will get the working link once the session is done. You can download that as well. Okay. Yes. Now we're going to move on with the rest of the prototype. Okay. Now, since we have already added the drag function, we will remove this one. Okay. No. Now, here, this is the screen I already created for create an account. Okay. Now, in order to go to the create an account, okay, you can see here option called onboarding screen 1, right? So in order to do that, you select the buttons. Okay, you select the button here, go to the prototyping, and you see this plus option here. You select the plus option to move this to this particular thing. Okay. Now, once you move that, okay, once you move that, you see this one automatically applied here. On tap, navigate to create an account by default. whenever you move from one button to this particular screen. Okay, on tab, navigate to create an icon. I don't want any animation. You can keep it instant. Suppose if you don't want an animation. Okay, by clicking on a button to another screen, I don't want any animation. So that is the reason I removed it. Okay, so now let's just play this. Okay, since I added a button functionality, now if you see here, drag option is already there. Okay, now I added create an account to this particular screen to this particular screen. On tap, navigate to create an account. On tapping on this button, I'm moving from this particular screen to this particular screen, create an account. Okay. Now I'm clicking on the prototype, create an account. So I've moved to this particular screen. Okay. So this is what it is. Clear? This is on tap functionality of on tapping on the button. We are moving from this particular frame to this particular. Okay. Clear? Next. You can do the similar thing as well. Okay. Like for example, create an account to this particular screen. Now here it says login and this is my login screen. Okay. So now I'll just click on login my account to this particular screen. On tap, navigate to login to it. Simple. Okay. Now, once you add the connection, you just play this. Create an account, log into my account. You are in this particular screen. Just like that. So this is the basic navigations which you can see. Okay. Whenever you add a connection like this and you want to see, you can just select this particular connection here or wires or cable, whatever you call this. You can see this particular option. Okay. Understood, guys? Any questions so far? Just wanted to make sure everybody are following. Yes, auto layout is a different topic. We're going to be covering that on Thursday and Friday. Okay. Good thing that you asked about auto layout. That is in our pipeline. You'll be learning that in our next particular sessions. Okay. Let's have more connections. Good thing somebody asked. Yes. Next, login. Let's do that quickly then. Forgot password. Let's add the forgot password link here and submit and reset password to the login. That's it. I've added it and this is my login screen. Log into the main home screen. I've added all my connections here. Once you add the connections, you can just play to check it. Onboarding, create an account, log into my account, forgot password. Okay. And then login. I have landed to my particular home page now. Okay. That's it. So whatever the screens I have created here, I have added here as a connection. Okay. You want to learn about the constraints. There is one person who is asking, I want to learn about constraints, variants, variables. That is a topic of about 8 to 12 hours. It cannot be taught under 22 minutes or 30 minutes. It's a very vast topic. Okay. So we're going to be learning a few bits of that in our bootcamp of the 5 days. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much for understanding. I'm trying to answer as many as of things I want. And I have already started making you guys understand the component structure. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, Yamini. I'm trying to help everybody here. Okay. Next. So I added the components here. Now let's look into some interesting aspect here. Suppose I showed you something here, right? Let me just play this. I want to make you guys understand. So one second, sorry, something is happening. Many people are joining and there is an interruption with the Figma here. Okay. So now when I log in here, you might have observed this thing, right? So it is scrolling here. How do we add this particular scrolling? Okay. So how do we add this? I want to scroll it as many as I can. How do we do that? Now let's do that. Okay. So here, this is my home screen which I created. I want to show you how to create that. Okay. Go to the design mode. Whenever you want to edit something, you need to be in the design. Okay. So now we're going to be doing horizontal frames, horizontal scroll using the shapes. Okay. Now let's move this particular out of the frame. I'll just ungroup this. Okay. I'll just ungroup everything. Okay. Now let's just say I want to add more of this. Let's just add eight items here. I'll select all three, Control C, Control V, and add it here. Okay. Now there are 8 items here. I want 8 of these things to be scrolled in this particular area. Okay. Now I select all the 8 items. Okay. And right click onto the frame. Before you do that, there is an option called group selection. Okay. Once you select all the things where you want to add horizontal scroll, select them and click on group. Once you click on group, you will understand that these are on one group. Okay. This is a home. This is what group is. You group all of them together. Now, once you group on them, right click on that and click on frame selection. Frame. Once you add the frame, it will give you a random name here. You can double click it to change as well. That is up to you. Okay, you can say that food scroll. Okay, food scroll. Now that I have added here, you might be thinking how this particular scroll gonna fit there, right? So whenever you are in that position, okay, first things what you need to do is once you have added your all the scroll items, then move this particular frame by clicking on it and move this across onto this particular home screen frame. Okay, just move it. You just need to select this one and move it. Once you move it, you might have observed that this food scroll frame name is disappearing. Why it is disappearing? Because we are incorporating this particular food scroll frame onto the home screen. We are incorporating on that inside of that. So once you move that, it will show something like this. Okay, and you might be thinking it went outside this particular frame. In order to fix that, when it goes outside the frame, you see this option called click content. You just need to check that. Once you check that, click on your you can once you click on your click content, okay, click on your command key, and move it. Okay, like this. Left mouse key and command or control key on your keyboard to move it to this particular frame. That's it. Once you have added that, go to the prototyping. You see this option called position and it says no scrolling, but I want scrolling for this. You select the option whichever you want to add the scroll, excuse me, and select horizontal because that is what I want here, horizontal scrolling. Okay. Once you add that in your prototyping, go to design and open it and open the prototype mode. Go to prototype, play this. Login, login, sorry, log into my account, login. This is my home screen. Now see here. All the 8 items are showing up here. Okay. You might be seeing there is a small slight line which is not correctly mentioned here. Currently not showing correctly, right? So let's just see what's the problem there. So if you could see that this is being covered here. In order to fix that, first go to the design mode. Make sure you are in the design mode. Just click on that, click on your command or control key, and you see these two liners, two arrow marks. Just select that a little bit downside. That's it. That's it. Once you added that, once you just click on this frame, go to prototype and play this. Now see here, there is no such line showing up, and you can scroll horizontally as much as you can. Okay. This is how you will implement the horizontal scroll. Okay. Any questions so far understanding the horizontal scroll? It is, I'm not dragging anything. Okay, you are saying how is it dragging? It is by default. The overflow scroll position. This is a scroll behavior. Scrolling is automatically applied. Okay. Yes. The scroll is automatically applied. You don't need to do anything. Yes. Login button is only available when we drag all that. Why is this issue is arising, sir? Okay. Login button is only available when we drag all the images. Okay. Because the reason is we have not given the prototyping for this part. For example, when I play this, you're saying login button is not there, right? Because we have not given the option. So we select here to log in this particular screen. Now it shows up there. See, login. See, it works. It's just that I didn't give the connection. That is the reason. Okay. I have created this because it takes time to create all of this, and the session is not enough to create all of this. So I've taken the images, I've designed them, and I've kept them. We'll be sharing the design link once the session is done. Okay. It will blur whenever you are dragging, right? That's a normal tendency. There is nothing apart from Figma or me doing anything there. It's automatic. Same, yes, you can do it for the vertical scrolling as well. But whenever you are in a state, vertical scroll is automatically applied. You don't need to change anything. You would like to know more about UI animation? That is part of our next sessions. You will be understanding more on the GIF animations. Chirag. Okay. Yes. Scroll clickable whenever you give anything to this, like for example, burger. Okay. I selected the burger here and gave a connection to this burger screen. Okay. Now it is on the scroll and it is on the on tap navigation as well. Now let's see in the prototyping whether it works or not. Login. In. I am scrolling it and I have also given the connection. When I clicked on the burger, it shows the burger menu. Simple. Okay. Kritika Barma, I think I answered your question. Say how to remove background image. Yes, you can use the you can use the background image. I'll show you that. Yes. How the circle is appearing while we move the cursor. Which circle you are saying? Nothing. See, nothing is saturated in UX, guys. Okay. Anyways, I hope everybody understood. Okay, till here. Now let's just see some overlays. Okay. Now going back to our website also. Let's see some button configuration. Okay. Yes. Chirag, you will be learning that in the next bootcamp sessions. Okay. Burger one is highlighted in the scroll bar. Because I have highlighted it. That is the reason. Because I have highlighted it. That's the reason. Okay. Anyways. Okay. Moving on to this particular website here. So this is a sample website, sample charity website. Now we're going to be seeing some website prototyping. It is a little bit similar, but there are some here and there changes. Okay. Suppose this is the first screen and this is the second screen. Okay, donations. Now let's just start with our basic prototyping. Once you are in the prototype, you select the prototype option here. Okay. Now click on flow starting point. Once you add that, you see this option called big play button. When you click on this one, it opens up in a different screen. Okay. Now you see that this particular thing is playing, but if we want our website here. So once we add our flow starting point, I want to change this to website. Okay. Now, so go here, you select this particular option called website. You see that it is loading in the mobile. We need to change that. You need to come to prototyping, show prototype settings, and set this to no device. Okay. Once you select no device, you can come here and see that that particular thing is applied like this, just like that. Okay. This is the first screen which I have already designed here. How to add this? This is the logo. I just dragged it and kept it here. Nothing fancy, nothing, anything rocket science here. Okay. I just added the text here, which I showed you yesterday itself. Okay. This is the text here. By how to create that? By clicking on this particular option of P here. Okay. That is what I have done there. Whatever I taught you yesterday, it is already implemented here. Okay. Whatever the images I have shown you, whatever the tint I have explained you yesterday, the same thing is applied here. So it's a continuation of our day one. Okay. If you are following from day one, you can see whatever the options I am showing you right now. It is all about what I have shown you in the day one. How to create this one, how to create a button and all that. Okay. Now, now you have seen how to add the text here. You might have been observed that how to import icons here. Okay. Now, in order to import icons, there are two ways. Okay. One thing is like you need to go, this is your plugin panel. Go to plugins. You can see flat icon. Flat, there are many such plugins, many such websites you can see online, which provides free icons. No restrictions on getting from any website. But there are certain plugins which help you in the longer way. Okay. Like for example, flat icon. If I select that and run it, okay, it will opens up in the flat icon. Okay. In the flat icon, you can select the particular icon whichever you want. Suppose you like this particular icon. Okay. You just select the plus button here. That will be added here. That's it. So that is how you import the icons. Or you can directly go to Google and type flat icon, and you can just open whichever the icon you want, copy PNG and paste it here. Okay, this is how you import icons, any icons. Okay, but there is a catch. Okay, let me just show you that. Suppose if this is the home icon which you have chosen to add in your particular project. But whenever you expand this, you might have observed by zooming here that it is being pixelated. Pixelated. Why it is pixelated? Because it is a PNG. It is a PNG. So how do we fix that? So first thing what we need to do is revert back to its original position. Okay. And go to plugins. You see this plugin called image tracer. Okay. to plugins, image tracer. I already have the image tracer. So you can see this plugin called image tracer. Once you add that plugin by selecting this one, right click, kind of plugins, image tracer. Okay, now that is added. I'll run this. Once you have run that, it will show something like this. Okay, click on place trace vector and move it. That's it. Now, if you observe this particular PNG, this is the PNG. How do you identify that it's a PNG? Once you click on that, you see this particular image where you cannot change any color. When you are in a position to see that you cannot change any color, it is a PNG. Okay. Now, if you select this one, you can change color, whatever the color you want. Why? Because we have converted that to SVG file. SVG is scalable vector graphics. Okay. And scalable vector graphics by its name itself says that it can be scalable to any extent. Let me just show you. Suppose you have expanded this SVG into a very big one, like almost this resolution. And now if you could zoom in, you can see that it's not pixelated. Why? Because it's a vector, because that is the format. So the recommended way of applying the icons, okay, in your particular file, wherever it is, mobile app or website, it is always recommended that you convert your PNG icons to SVG icons. Okay, so that you can collectively change whichever the color you want easily. Okay, so this is how you convert. Any questions on this process? The name of the plugin is Image Tracer. Yes. Hmm. Yes, we can build a website designed for free, but not website for free. Only the website design. So this is the website design which I have done, right? So I have created it for free. But to publish it on a World Wide Web, you need developer to publish. Okay. How much time it will take to learn full Figma? It takes minimum of 3 months of practice to basically understand how to start creating in Figma. Okay. So, excuse me. So in order to convert, excuse me, guys. Yes, sorry about that. So in order to convert this particular website into code, you see this option called dev mode. Okay, but dev mode is not free in the free version. So I cannot show you that. Okay. Once you convert it to dev mode, it will show you the code of this particular web page, which I have designed it. Okay, that is not for the free version. That is the professional features. Okay. If you have an educational license, you can avail the educational license of Figma for more than year of subscription as well, which includes the professional version 2 in that. Okay. Okay, anyways. So now let's just see the last option of buttons. Okay, suppose this is the read mode button. There is only one topic left. After that, I will be addressing the queries as well. Okay, let me just show you. Okay, now you can see there is a read mode option. Okay, I want this read mode button to be changed to a different button whenever I on hover on that. On hover meaning is whenever I move my mouse cursor onto that, it should change to a different color. Okay. For example, in order to do that, first ungroup this area. Okay. And ungroup this one as well. Okay. Now that you see a read mode option, Just move that outside the frame. Okay, and detach the instance. Okay, now this is the secondary color I've added about us. Okay, now once you created a button, this is the second button, Control C, Control V. Okay, so now on hovering, I want to change it to a different color. So how to do that? You remember the component states, the component set, which I just showed you. Create components. Once you added the component set, you see this particular option here. Okay, now click on this, go to prototype, from this screen to this screen, click on while hovering. The reason why I'm showing this is in the mobile, we don't have on hovering states because on the mobile we tap, we don't hover, right? We hover on the website because we move our mouse cursor. On the mobile, we don't have mouse cursor. Okay, so showing you here while hovering, it will change to this particular variant. You can say that this is the second variant and this is the first variant. So whenever you create component sets, whatever the secondary options which you see, this is called variants. Okay, now let's change this color in the design. Go to the design, double click. You can see the option to green. I want to change it to this particular yellow here. How to apply the yellow here? Yesterday we have gone through eyedropper. So I select this particular thing, go to this particular option. I see the eyedropper tool, which I explained yesterday, and move it on to this particular yellow as you can see. Okay, I added the here now. Okay, now go to the prototyping. Okay, while hovering, change to this particular instance by default, while hovering only. Okay, now here it says button. I want to add it to a real name that is called read more button. Okay, read more button. Okay, now that I added this button here, I want to replace this button in this particular location. So whenever you are replacing something, photo design, delete this instance, go to the assets, go to the assets panel and select read more. You can see this particular option called read more and drag it here. First, you need to drag your components to the main canvas. Once you add that to the main canvas, move on to your particular screen. Once you added that in the design, just play this by selecting this particular screen, prototype, and play. So while playing, this is a small screen, right? So it is better to move into a bigger screen. Okay, this is how you move to the bigger screen. Now, whenever I scroll here, you see the button here, right? So by on hovering it, it will change it to the yellow. That's because we added our component set here and we added two variants here. Our first variant is the button. Our second variant is the while hovering button. Okay, that is the reason we can add that. The rest of the connections, whatever I added on tap navigate, that is all same. For example, so navigation, when I selected donations here, I added the connection to this particular screen and home to this particular screen. Okay, on click. Now when I added it, when I play this, you can see this donations. When I click on donation, I move on to the donations. When I click on home, I'm going to the home. Why? Because that is what the connection I have given. On click, navigate to donation page. This is the donations page. From the home, I selected on click, navigate to Neely Foundation. That is the first name which I've given. Okay, or we can change to home. Okay, this is how you do the basic prototyping from screen to screen. And this is how you create while hovering states buttons on the particular websites. Okay. On hovering is specifically to the websites. Okay. Any questions so far? We have gone through the basic prototypings in our day two. In our day one, we have gone through the shapes, understanding, and corner radius and various other shapes, various other colors, and how to import the images. In the second day, we have replicated the same thing, and in the addition of how to create prototyping with the shapes and the frames. So in tomorrow's session, we'll be going through how to add GIF animations, how to create Lottie files, how to import GIF animations onto the screen, and how to replicate that. And going on, we'll be learning more about the auto layout and the other function. Okay. So any questions? It's the questions time. Yes. Yes. I want people to ask something specific to our particular sessions here so that everybody can understand. Yes. Okay. Please, how to get a good job in UI UX? Which is first thing you need to start working on your skill set. Okay. First, try to understand the summary of UI UX and then select any particular certification body. Okay. And even Let's Upgrade offers the same thing. Okay. You can get the certification done where you will get a comprehensive idea of how to get into the UX by yourself, and then you can start applying. You can also visit UI UX field meetups locally in your city and get an understanding about that and meet fellow designers so that they can guide you better. Okay. So animations is of tomorrow's session. Please stay tuned for tomorrow. Okay. We're going to be dwelling into the GIF animations, how to create animations, and how to add animations onto our particular screens. Now that we have understood how to create frames, how to create the content in them, how to create prototyping, now we'll be learning how to add different GIF animations onto that in our tomorrow session. Okay. Yes. Which is more good, Figma or Fix Studio? See, those are completely different platforms. Wix is a no-code platform where you can create custom websites. That is not a design tool. That is just a drag and drop tool of predefined design sets there. Okay. Figma is a professional design tool where you create real prototypes of the products. How did you learn Figma? I learned it. I learned it. I learned it in my master's degree. So once I learned it, I started it. Okay. But I didn't learn it directly Figma because I learned it from previous tool called Sketch. Okay, that was my first tool. And once I learned Sketch, Figma was introduced. Uh, then I got to know about it. You convert it into code by converting it to the dev mode. Dev mode is not in the free platform. Okay. How to make it design responsible, that we will be learning in the auto layout session. Okay. That is our fourth session, auto layout. Okay. What's the junior UI UX salary in startups? About 3 to 4 lakh per annum is the starting in the startups. Can we convert the Figma design to code? Yes, you can do that. I already answered. Logo and the design, the logos which are available online, or you can manually create using the pen tool, which I showed in the first day already. Okay. Yes. Button color change, I already showed you. Please go through the recording once. Yes, assets part is something where whatever the component you have added here, it will show up in your assets there because a component is part of the assets of your file. That is the reason. Okay. How to approach in company? You need to start applying online or from the job boards or try approaching UX studios. Okay. Try approaching UX studios online and HR people or the other designers. That is the right way because a designer to designer is always a better way of interacting with them. How do we convert pages into a website? So see, this is the different frames. In Figma, you call it frames, not pages. Okay, whatever the frame you added here, you add the prototyping. Okay, what is meant by corporate branding? Corporate branding is something where a different set of branding guidelines which are set in place by the particular companies to make sure they use that same branding of colors, same branding of their font sizes and everything. Okay, so most of the questions are repeated. Let me see the ones which are different. What is the difference between UI and UX? Both are same. Both are subset of it. Like for example, UI is the user interface. Whatever the buttons you see here, that is user interface, the interface. This is the interface. You are interacting with that. UX is something, the entire experience of seeing this website. Okay, that is the entire experience. So in your experience, user interface is the part of it. Okay, yes. Skills needed to be a senior design head is empathetical approach to the problem statement. Okay, and creative problem solving ability and user research techniques, and also b- soft skills of being more patient in the design. Okay, and communication skills. The communicating your design is the very key of quickly ladder up in your career. Okay, communications and the presentation skills are very crucial in the design. If you are not so communicative, this is not the field for you. Okay, yes. How to make good case studies? Try working on good projects. Yes, a lot of demand in the UI UX because everybody wants a best experience for their products, right? So as long as there is a need of best experiences being considered to give best product design experience, as long as good experience is valued in this world, UX designer position will be there. Maybe the naming might be advanced, but the position will be permanent. Okay. Yes, there is a lot of demand in the UX field, which I just explained. How to convert frames to web series? You mean website, or what do you mean web series? Okay, this is the frame here, right? You select the frame, okay? You add the prototyping and you play it. That's it. The website is added here, right? Yes, good question. How do we keep navbar in the first? Let me show you quickly. So while I'm scrolling, it is at the top only, right? How do we do that? You need to select this particular option and you go to the prototype, you see scroll behavior. I kept it fixed. That's it. Suppose if I kept it scroll with parent, see, while scrolling here, it is showing up here. That is very, very bad, right? So obviously fixed. That's it. You just need to go to prototype and click on fixed. No chatbot replaces the jobs of UX guys. A chatbot will enable you to enhance your UX process, but it's not gonna make you slow at all. Okay, all the chat gpt which I use on the daily basis, it helps me to enhance the design process. Okay, it helps you work faster. That makes you to work on your designs faster. Okay, that is what all the AI tools which are released in the market is doing that. Okay, what is the UI UX future? See, the UI UX future will be advanced. There would be more more platforms into the particular of more platforms than just website or mobile. As you can see, Apple Vision Pro has released a 3D space application, right? So in a three-dimensional space. So the UX designer's role will be advanced. Like you will be no longer working on mobile and website interfaces. You will be working in the 3D spaces as well, three-dimensional spaces as well. So that is the future of Figma and future of designing as a whole. Okay. And today's time is up as well. Okay. So we're gonna be going through GIF animations tomorrow and then auto layout later. Okay. That's it for today. I hope today's session is very insightful. Thank you so much, guys. See you guys tomorrow.